you guys. Welcome to our next episode of Freedom Fridays with Dana Lee. I'm your host, Dana Lee. I am a diet recovery coach. I help women heal from decades of dieting damage, yo-yo dieting, weight gain and weight loss, healing not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally, which I have definitely discovered from my own personal journey that actually trumped the others because it was so neglected. So I'm excited, you guys. The topic for today is overwhelm. And I have a little story to share about this. So if you're here live, say hello. I have made the decision to not allow overwhelm to take over. And I am now streaming to both my Facebook group, Life Beyond Dieting, and to my YouTube channel every Friday. So my YouTube channel, I started building years and years ago, and I do apologize to my YouTubers. I have neglected you, and the reason I have is because the technology and being in all these platforms at once has been overwhelming. So hello, good to see you here. If you're live, say hello. If of course you're live, you're a live human being. If you're with me live, please say hello. If you're on the replay, please hashtag replay. So I'm talking about overwhelm today because I help women heal their emotional eating issues and binge eating, compulsive eating, our total dysfunctional relationship with food. And overwhelm can be a state of being that we can slip into. If you are someone who suffers from overwhelm, well, the title of this video might have sucked you in because it's like, oh my God, that's me. Help me. I need relief. I need to get out of this trap. It's overtaking me. It can paralyze me. So if that is the case for you, I'm also going to pull this up on my phone to see if I can read. I can't see who it says Facebook user. So hopefully I'll be able to figure out with this new platform I'm using to be able to see the names of my commenters. So in the meantime, just give me one moment here because I do want to. Okay, Sally, hi. Deneen, hello. Anik, hello. Excellent. Okay. So I will figure that out. Overwhelm can lead to mindless eating, numbing out, emotional eating. So let me know in the comments if overwhelm has stalled you out or created some paralyzing like points in your life, in your day. Maybe you're suffering from this a lot, which the irony is if you're feeling overwhelmed, I bet you might not even stop to watch this video. That's the irony of it, right? However, hopefully you're able to take a breath and say, okay, I really want to look at overwhelm in the eye and figure out what the hell can I do to help dissipate this? What's really going on here? How do I remove this as an obstacle so I actually can feel productive and move on with the next task of the day rather than being paralyzed? So please let me know if overwhelm is something that you suffer from, because the funny thing is, before I went live today, I knew that in 2022, I wanted to give more attention to my YouTubers because you guys deserve that. I've been focused on my Facebook platform and in my Life Beyond Dieting group, very, very present there. I send emails to my list on a regular basis. But my YouTubers, I want to give you some love because so many of my clients have found me because of YouTube back in the day. So I am back and I'm going to be consistent. And before I went live today, I had decided to use a different streaming platform. So that way I could, instead of setting up two different devices, I can go through one portal. So luckily I had the foresight to do this and I thought, click, 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 I'll just hook it up, register, I subscribe to this service, boom, 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 it's done. Well, do things really happen that smoothly in life? No, they don't. So there was an issue with connecting my Facebook group and I couldn't get the technology to work. So here's the irony of all of that is that even in the pressure of this morning, I knew I wanted to talk about the topic of overwhelm. That I already decided because there's another story I want to share. I also was like, okay, I am going to see if I can chat with support and handle this tech issue. And regardless, here's the thing, because there's 4 things I want to share with you guys today about overwhelm that's going to help you break the overwhelm cycle. And that actually kind of loops, it kind of creates a loop. So it continues to layer and heal and dissolve this issue of overwhelm. So you might even want to take notes. In these Freedom Fridays, it's very common. Get out your note, your journal and a pen, or who cares, a napkin and a pen. I don't care. So you may want to take notes today. So I had this little techie issue, and it was literally up to the wire. I was wanting to go live on YouTube and wanting to go live in my group and wanting to send out my email blast so that way my people on my email list don't want to all be on Facebook. So I totally respect that, and I understand why you're avoiding that platform. So I wanted to give a link to my YouTube channel, but I'm like, so I was like, one thing at a time. Throughout this entire morning since 9 a.m., so it's 11 a.m. Eastern is when I go live for my Freedom Fridays every single Friday. And now I will be on YouTube as well. So I'm within that 2-hour window, I got it all resolved. I ended up sending my email blast out 10 minutes early instead of 15 that I normally send, but whatever. And I did not allow that to consume me or pull me into a tailspin. Okay, so the place where I am today has taken some focus and some personal work to get here. Okay, so I'm not going to say in any of these videos that let's wave the magic wand and all of a sudden miraculously all of this goes away. It's like me doing a push up for you. I can't do it for you. There are things that I can guide you through, and then there's a practice. It's about finding a practice for yourself of self-awareness. What's really going on here? Asking yourself those smarter questions so you get better answers. And that is what I'm going to guide you through. Okay. So it was very ironic, very interesting that in the topic of overwhelm, I was put in a position where shit was hitting the fan. And yet I still held it together and decided already. I was like, yeah, but the truth is, I'm not curing cancer here. I'm just going live. And worst comes to worst, I go live on my phone and on my laptop, and I'm looking at 2 different spots on my camera. Okay, that's the worst case scenario. What's the big deal, right? So that pulls me out of overwhelm. Okay, so I do see. So Sally said, absolutely, I suffer from this. I often jump from thing to thing because I'm overwhelmed, not focusing on one thing and then can't accomplish anything. So it's like analysis paralysis, right? Anyone? Analysis paralysis. It's like I can't even focus on the one thing to do the next thing, and then like nothing gets done, right? So you're not alone, Sally. Certainly not alone. I absolutely relate to that. I'm sure a lot of women on this video will also relate to that. So here's 4 things that I really want you to know. Okay? The first thing is that imagine for a moment that overwhelm is a choice. And I know at first you might be like, but it's not. It feels so compulsive and so like visceral in your body. Am I right? Like it overwhelms your body with emotion, literally overwhelms your body. So it feels like you have no control over it. Is that right? So I would like you for this step number 1 or point number 1, imagine what if overwhelm was actually a choice? And the reason we want to ask ourselves this is because at first, when this was first proposed to me by one of my coaches, I was resistant to it because I couldn't possibly see how I had any control over that immediate visceral feeling in my body. And yet I still allowed that possibility in my head. So that way I'm like, well, if it is a choice, then that means I actually have power to change my situation. If I don't have a choice, then that means overwhelm is going to continue to rule my day, my week, my month, and my schedule. And it's also going to continue to contribute to this is a horrible feeling and I can't take it. So I'm just going to go eat. So I decided, let me just experiment. What if overwhelm was actually a choice? So just sit with that for a moment. All right. So if you're taking notes, literally write that down. What if I allowed overwhelm to be a choice in my life. Okay, so that's the first thing, because overwhelm's a feeling. And we actually, certainly through work with me and my mentorship, we work on creating a little space between the event and thing that is happening, and then how we're responding and feeling and reacting to that thing. So over time, we create space between that so we can be more conscious about our participation in that spiral. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, and yes, Sally says yes. Hi, Ellen. Hello, hello. So, two, here's something that is going to help you find more compassion with yourself in this whole feeling of overwhelm. So, overwhelm is actually a protective mechanism for your nervous system. It purposely puts you into a paralysis because let me know this. Do you give yourself strategic breaks in your life, like where you're literally scheduling nothing? Like, do you currently believe that doing nothing is a total waste of time? Because I certainly believe that. I was ambitious, driven. I had shit to do. I had businesses to build. I had a career to develop. I was on a mission, man, for years and years and years. So there was no rest in that. I had to do the next thing. Here's what I've come to truly fundamentally understand. And I'm going to relate this because I have so many fitness followers, and many of you have come to my YouTube channel because of my fitness videos. So let's talk about the importance of rest with our muscles. So if we're going to push really hard and we're going to, spin our hearts out, or we're going to lift weights and do some interval training, the days in between, or the time in between your workouts, even though you're not working out, while you're working out, your muscles are breaking down. That's kind of the point. We want them to be pushed to fatigue. You want to break the muscle fiber down, because when you break the muscle fiber down in the rest period, that is where your body is doing the most work. It's actually repairing, rebuilding, getting stronger. That's your inactivity is the most active for the things that you can't see going on in your body. It's really amazing. Why do we sleep at night? We need sleep for rest recovery. So think about this with overwhelm. If you're a type A personality, go, go, go. I'm going to pack my schedule, busy, busy, busy. And perhaps, I don't know if we'll go there today, but what I will say is, oftentimes when we're very busy and packing our schedule, there's something we're trying to avoid in our life. Okay, so maybe that could be a topic for another day, avoidance, because I know that very well. I know that very well. Let me keep myself busy and driven with my career so I don't have to address this other serious issue that was going on in my life at the time. Like many, many years, I was with someone who had a heroin addiction. So let me just keep focusing on my career and moving forward because I can't handle the pain over here in my life. So that's normal. That's totally normal. And, if that is the case for you, again, maybe another video because it's a pretty loaded topic. However, if you are not building in doing nothing, and rest time, then overwhelm shows up because it's a protective mechanism for your nervous system. It's literally forcing you into paralyzation. Like, I can't do anything. I have 20 things on my list. I don't know which one to do first because your brain short circuits and cannot figure out the priority of those things. You feel like it's not necessary reality, but you feel like 5 people are pulling you in 5 different directions. You've got your boss over here, you have your husband over here, you have your kids over here, you have an agreement that you made to bake something in a bake sale, you have an agreement. So there are things that feels like you're being pulled in a million directions at one time. So what happens is nothing happens because your nervous system will force you into a break. So this is building a case, okay? So this brings me to number 3. This is building a case for strategic rest. Okay, so number one is be open to possibly that overwhelm is a choice. What if overwhelm is a choice? And I can choose different. I can actually take my power back and choose to be out of overwhelm. Number two is overwhelm is a protective mechanism for your nervous system. It is there on purpose, okay, because it pushes you into paralyzation. So, number three, this helps us build a case for strategic rest. So, knowing this, maybe you'll start looking at rest a little differently. Here's something that I know to absolutely be true. I needed 2021 to gear up and create space for me to feel less overwhelmed so I can continue back and get back onto my YouTube channel and connect with my YouTube followers in a more meaningful way. I needed space last year that I built in where I literally did nothing. In that I would take a walk in my neighborhood and just listen to music or not listen to anything at all. I would lay out on the lawn when it was nice out and just like hang out in the sun. I have a little area, a patio area that my husband and I set up right outside our front windows where it's an adorable little table with chairs and there's the hydrangea there and I can sit out and drink coffee and bring my laptop and put the wire through my window so that way I could plug in if I end up losing power. So I'm able to like sit and read a book. I will do things that seem like they're a waste of time, but because I was able to do that last year, it allowed me to host this unbelievable roadmap to food freedom event that I just held a couple weeks ago in my Facebook group. It was the third time I ran it. The first two last year were awesome. They were so fun. The third one, I knocked out of the park. Like I felt so free and clear and not one ounce of overwhelm in that entire event. And I was personal messaging people. We were having conversations. It was none of that. I had 150 women register for that event. I had over 50% of those women actually opening my emails to that event, which has been, that's mind blowing. That is not normal for like back end industry standard. So clearly I had women who this was a pain point for them. And this is striking at a certain time in their life that was very on the pulse of helping them heal this. So how could I possibly show up and be that present? If I was in overwhelm and paralyzation, I could not be there for you ladies. And that is doing a disservice to my community. And I refuse to let overwhelm and paralyzation take that over because I have women to help. I have you guys to help. So that was incredibly eye-opening to me throughout that whole thing. I'm like, wow, I mean, I'm not even slipping into overwhelm at all. And I had a tech breakdown like day one when I was about to go live for my first training video out of 5. And it didn't even, it was like, okay, I'm going to handle this. I'll handle this. And normally I would have a meltdown. I'd be like, Steve, help me, my husband. And that didn't happen. I was like, I'm going to handle this and it's going to be taken care of. And the people who really need to hear this message are going to be patient and understand. And that's exactly what happened. And on with the show. And the rest of the videos off without a hitch. So it took me work and strategic rest to be okay with doing nothing last year in certain pockets of my day and my week and my month, depending on, and really allowed myself the space so my nervous system could rest. And it got me in a creative flow that actually created more answers and clarity in my life than when I would go, back to back to back. So this part of strategic rest is vital. It is vital. Like through COVID, can we see how important it is to really look? I mean, we've been turned inside because of lockdowns and quarantining. It's literally forcing us inside. And if we can't sit with ourselves, there's no escaping ourselves. So how do you find peace with sitting with yourself? That is the big question. And that's why I have my MindFit mentorship, because I have 12 months with women to really sort through this complexity, right? So these Freedom Fridays are designed to give you a little window into each of these aspects that we struggle with as human beings and how it relates to our issue with food and our coping mechanism with food. So this leads me to number 4. So number 4 is that emotional eating and mindless eating is triggered by this feeling of overwhelm and paralyzation because we are so uncomfortable with feeling. We're very afraid of emotions. I can't handle it. This is so uncomfortable. I can't sit with it. Like my nervous system feels like it's going to die. And it doesn't isn't actually true, but in your system, your survival mechanisms believes that to be true. Whether you're actually running from a tiger or your nervous system feels like you're being chased and you're running from life, another protective mechanism is food. Let me turn to food to help me numb out and make this feeling of overwhelm go away. I can't handle it. But what ends up happening is that behavior with food compounds the situation. So then you're now distracted. Okay, now I ate all this and I wasn't even hungry. And now I physically feel sick. And now I have to deal with that guilt and shame and beating yourself up from that behavior. So I'm here to tell you it's time for us to give ourselves more compassion for our eating behaviors. No shame. There's no shame in binging. There is no shame in eating emotionally, overeating, because the way a way I help my clients heal from decades of dieting damage and this on again, off again with diets, yo-yo, gaining weight, losing weight, the way I help them facilitate healing is to remove the shame as that obstacle because it's a human behavior to try in the best way you know how to put a band-aid over the situation. So if this is all you know how to cope, this is the best way you know how to cope, then you're doing the best you can. So this brings us back to number 1. So now are you willing to see if overwhelm is a choice and you see the domino effect of overwhelm, paralyzation, the nervous system, the eating, how do we cut that off at the pass? Well, it's about looking at our thoughts and our belief system and taking a look at that. So what if that is the part that changes that domino effect and then therefore you never get to the point that you're actually using food to cope. You don't even hit that number 4 that I just shared, right? It's that you get to see, I feel overwhelmed. This feels really uncomfortable. What if I could choose to do the next thing on my list? And what if the next thing on my list, I couldn't be wrong? Because maybe that's some of the paralyzation that happens. I'm afraid the next thing I do is actually going to be the wrong choice because I should have been doing something else. So do you see this creates like a massive complex bite, like a web, like you're walking around like Pigpen, right? There's just this swirling mess around you that you're trying to make sense of, right? Okay, so are you guys following me here? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so Ellen says, agree. Lockdown has taught us valuable lessons. I agree. I have said now we're going on almost 2 years, right, of COVID, and it's not ending anytime soon. We're gonna have to deal with it and find ways to manage. Um, but I have said really from the beginning, I believe COVID is a catalyst. It is a catalyst for change. It is a catalyst for us to go inside, look at what's important in our lives, things breaking apart because they're meant to fall back together in a better way. That is how I see it. I see it as an opportunity to dismantle some of the old stuff in our society, in our institutions that maybe really weren't serving us. Like we're talking about overwhelm today. How many I was talking to a colleague of mine and she's in fitness and she's a trainer and she used to work these ungodly hours and be running all over the place to serve her clients and for not really making much money and putting money in her pocket at the end of the day. And I was like, sister, this shit's got to end. What are we doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So now that this was taken away, and then you're able to rebuild your, demands at your job a little differently. Hello, the great resignation. People are resigning left and right because they're like, fuck this, you know? The same thing with entrepreneurs and business owners. Like, I have worked for years before this happened with COVID to build my life and my lifestyle exactly how I want it to be. So that's where I am right now, and I have been living there. I'm very, very fortunate. What that allowed me to do is, through COVID, be that strong force for other women who like, shit was starting to fall apart. Years ago, through the recession, my shit fell apart. So I know what it's like. And now I was able to restructure, rebuild, design my life. I was able to design my life and understand that I actually had more power over that than I was giving myself credit for. And this is why I started with number one of, what if the power is in your hands about overwhelm, and that overwhelm could be a choice. What if designing and restructuring your life is more in your power than you were giving yourself credit for before this? Right? That was part of the old you, right? And through COVID, I also believe there's a bit of a grieving process of the old way. Even if it was a way that didn't serve you, anytime we transition to change, there has to be this letting go. If you did the roadmap to food freedom with me, the first day we talk about decluttering. And if you join the mentorship with me, the first module we work on, and we continue to work on throughout the whole year, is decluttering our environment, because it's about letting go. If we could practice letting go, it also helps you facilitate a grieving process where I'm ready to shed my skin and let the old me go and show up as really who it is I am. And I'm willing to rediscover who it is I am. So, all right, you guys. Fabulous. Are you with me? Are you with me? I'm talking a lot, so I'm going to drink water, not vodka. Too early for that. Okay, you guys, this is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. If there's anything that comes to you, or any of my replay viewers have anything to share or add to this conversation, you are welcome to do that. And I always love hearing from you. So my YouTubers, I'm so happy to be back in action on my YouTube channel. So this is going to be your Freedom Fridays with Dana Lee. In our Life Beyond Dieting group, I'm going live. I always go hashtag Freedom Fridays with Dana Lee. So there's oodles of videos in the group, oodles that I've done in many Fridays. So if you're new to the group and new to me and my community, there's lots of content to sift through there. On YouTube, I'm so excited to be bringing you these Freedom Fridays on a regular basis. If on YouTube you want to join my Facebook group, you're welcome to do that, because what's great about the Facebook group, first of all, it's private. And second of all, we're able to have more nuanced conversations. Like, I post in there every day. Sometimes I write like my blogs in there if I have something more profound to share and say, and I don't always do that on video. So it's a way for my YouTubers to connect and get more conversations. So all you need to do on Facebook is just search in groups, Life Beyond Dieting with Dana Lee. Okay. And then request to join. All right, you guys, fabulous. It's so happy to see you. Happy to be back in action for our Freedom Fridays. And if you've got any things you're struggling with and you want me to cover a specific topic, I would be more than happy to do that. I have a bunch of topics I'm lining up through February and March. I have so many things I have to say and want to talk about. But I always want to stay on the pulse of what it is you need in my community and what you need. So please let me know what you're struggling with, even if you want to send me a private message to tell me. Totally understand that. And I respect your privacy, and some of this stuff can be really uncomfortable to sort through and deal with. So you give me the topic and then I will take it from there. Okay. All right. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And my hope is, my intention is with these Freedom Fridays, that it's giving you more freedom with food, but more so, more freedom in your life. And that is really what we're all searching for, right? If you have the freedom with food, imagine that impact and how that affects the rest of your life and your relationships. It is amazing. Okay, thank you so much. I look forward to comments from my replay viewers, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.